gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming online live video-wise on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all over the place, Instagram. Go follow us, like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that type of good stuff. And it is a Wednesday, so you know what time it is. It's time to check in with the voices of Bakersfield College football. Boom! After a massive home opener win against Allen Hancock this week, 33-7. We talking with Kenny Calvin and Rob Chavez. Sir, how are you both? How are things?
Oh, another great morning, great day to be a Renegade, and an Early Bird Special.
Absolutely.
Guest.
Let's talk about this game.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Absolutely, as always. Love having you too. Let's talk about it. 33-7, massive win. I was shocked personally, not just with the attendance, and we'll get to that in a second. I'm very disappointed in Bakersfield, but it is what it is. Malachi Statler did not have the game that I expected him to have. Obviously, we talked about it last week, how this game for him was kind of a coming out party against Allen Hancock. Were you guys as shocked as I that we didn't see a little bit of a better game from him?
I'll let Rob take the lead this week.
Yeah, I was just about to talk about that in the fact that this coaching staff has really looked for somebody to kind of pull away and take this job just like he did last year. Statler did. Carson Woods has come back, and he's shown that he's kind of the elder statesman in the room. He is a section champion. He has led BC to a successful season a couple of years ago, and again, the third best season in BC history. So there's no surprise on the Carson Woods side. I think that's just something for Malachi to kind of roll with, and he's just going to get a little bit better if he continues to learn in that QB room. Again, we talk about the fact that he's got two of the best offensive lines in junior college football all throughout the state of California, and Seth Dameron and Carl Dean. But Carson Woods had one of those games to where he was able to protect the football. He was able to manage the game correctly and really give it to the guys that really made a huge difference in Bubba Nettles and Watkins.
And another massive name that we got to drop as well will be Dylan Johnson. 2 massive catches for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kenny, talk about his impact on the game.
I think it was beautiful based on the fact that coming into the season, we didn't really have an idea who would be the guy as a receiver. We all talked about that, and it's a great thing to see big plays, right? Getting back to the quarterback scenario, just to add my spiel on it, I think it's going to be tough for either quarterback to be consistent until they get consistent reps in that series, in those consecutive series. I think it's one of the hardest positions to play when you're sharing time. And it's based on protection, it's based on cadence, it's based on your voice, and just being able to get the offensive line to get used to 2 different voices. Carson definitely had a great day. Malachi struggled a little bit, but I think once one of those guys gets to a point to where he knows he's consistently in there and doesn't have to worry about looking over his shoulder, I think that'll help that consistency. But like we saw, Carson Woods, as Rob stated, elder statesman, proven leader. Maybe that's why he's able to find a guy like Dylan Johnson and make him the guy, based on him having a little bit more experience. So it's going to be very interesting. We did see some good things out of multiple receivers. We saw multiple guys get catches. Ben Spears got a touchdown catch that was called back. Chad Sabol is consistently looking like he's a possession receiver that can be trusted in those middle drives and downs. One of our guys, Mr. Simmons, a kid from Florida, finally got in and had an opportunity to showcase what he can do. But very exciting for Dylan Johnson based on the fact that, hey, another Central Section kid that chose to stay home, and here he goes, has a huge game, averaging 87 yards a catch. at home for the first time. That was beautiful.
Yeah, that was insane. That offense, I mean, they're definitely starting to click. Almost put up 400 yards on the Allen Hancock. But, I'm going to bring up the defense. I am so pumped about this defense that the Renegades have. And just talk about them. I know you're the Hall of Famer, so I don't want to step on your toes. But how about this defense, baby?
Man, I mean, I love it, Steve. You spend so much time with us. You know how important it is for me to see a defense set the tone. And I mean, you start a game out with a 3-and-out, you get a safety right after the 3-and-out, and then right after that, you get another 3-and-out that leads to a field goal to making it 5-0. So, those are the kind of momentum starts that you want from a defensive perspective. And I mean, it just gives the offense energy. It was beautiful seeing the defensive front seven put in work right away as well. As soon as we started the game in pregame, once again, we talked about the keys to the game is our defensive line getting after this guy that wants to sit in the pocket. And I talked about Miles Poole is going to be wrecking shop on this guy if he thinks he's going to stay in the pocket. First series, Miles Poole gets 2 pressures and, I believe a sack. So, we don't like to appear like we know it all, but that's why they pay us the big bucks.
Exactly. Well, I mean, BC's starting the season up just how we want it, 2-0. But this Saturday, they're headed out to Ventura. So what areas are you guys thinking? I don't know anything about Ventura. Maybe you guys can give us some insight.
Ventura might just have more heartbreaking losses than BC over the last couple of years.
Really?
They're probably one of the other another team over the past couple of years that could sit back and say, if we did this, this, and this, we could be in the state playoffs. We could be competing for a state championship. Last year they were humbled. They came in to BC on a winning streak, and then the BC defense humbled them. We're going to need to have the same type of performance out of the defense because check this out. Our offense, like you said, is starting to click, starting to roll, 347 average yards per game. Mm-hmm. Ventura, 547 yards average per game. And their guy, Tate, the starting QB, is another one of those mobile quarterbacks that we've seen, like Nate Bento in the very first game, where he can beat you with his legs, he can beat you with his arm. He's very shifty. He's built a little bit differently, almost built like a Jaden Daniels, a little bit slim. He's out of Oaks Christian, so he's used to elite level football. And he's a local kid. He's right down the street. He's from right down the street in Oxnard. So another one of those guys that is going to have probably a big fan club out in the crowd rooting him on. So this is going to be another one of those challenges. But if there's anything I've learned from these defensive coaches, they love these challenges, and they get all their players. And Kenny was mentioning a lot of those guys. They get those guys ready to accept that kind of a challenge. They faced this Allen Hancock team, which had just put up over 450 yards the game before, and they only allowed 150 or 130 something yards, and a lot of those were garbage yardage.
Right through the first quarter, they had -3 yards total offense.
My Lord. Well, at this point, I mean, defensively, obviously, you want to isolate a guy like that and keep him on an island. So, Kenny, how do you think BC is going to approach that? And are there any weaknesses in this kid's game that you think they're going to try to exploit?
Well, one thing we know about Ventura is that they're a very high-spirited, confident team, no matter who's coming in. Rob talked about their heartbreaking losses over the past years. Last week, they had a heartbreaking win as they beat Fullerton 45-42. They got out to a 17-0 lead. Fullerton, being the national powerhouse that they are, came back, went up 21-17. And it ended up being a 45-42 game. So really, it kind of appears that Fullerton may have ran out of gas and ran out of time. But what it does show is that Ventura is going to sling that thing, man. They're going to throw the ball all over the place. My late, great, former national champion, coach Jimmy Red Parker. He coached at Clemson. He coached me at OBU. He was the guy that said, I hate basketball on grass. That's what Ventura is, basketball on grass. They'll run fake punts. They'll run double reverse passes. They open up their offensive package like none other. So for our defense, it's going to be a huge challenge to keep everything in front of us. We've done a great job doing that this season, not giving up the big plays over our heads. I don't think we've even we may have given up one big play versus Santa Ana last week, but the ability to keep these speedy spread receivers in front of you is going to be the key, because they're going to let that thing fly. It could be first down beginning of the game. They're going to go play action and try to take your heart out for 80 yards. It's their mentality and how they play the game. So we definitely have to be prepared. Last week I talked about situational awareness. I'm huge on that, because I feel like if you're situationally aware, you're 3 times better than a player that isn't, regardless of your athletic ability. So it's going to be key for our defensive secondary to make sure that you're playing situational awareness and just being ready for certain things at certain times.
Well, I'm excited. It sounds like we're going to have a hell of a game on Saturday, which you can listen to right here on our sister station, Kern Radio 96.1, with the almighty Kenny and Rob. I'll see you guys Saturday. Thank you for taking time out this morning. And
hey, Steve, real quick, I want to give a shout out too, because we have to at least highlight special teams.
Of course,
absolutely.
Carlos Villa right now is tops in the nation in terms of field goal and extra point percentage. And he is number 5 in the state in scoring right now. He's turned into Mr. Automatic for us, and he could be the difference maker in a game like this that could come down to 1 or 2 points. So shout out to Carlos. I had a chance to catch up with him after the game. He's very humble as well too, and he loves when kickers get their shine.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
We were just talking about the importance of kickers, especially the pro game right now with the new dynamic kickoff. And actually, real quick, before we let you guys go, I do have to get some self-indulgent questions out of there. First, Kenny, your Florida State Seminoles, I apologize. Are we back? Back-to-back massive games. Are we back with the Florida State team?
Hey, we're definitely headed in the right direction, and you got to love it. I have a lot of friends and former teammates who are huge Florida Gator fans. I ragged them about their loss versus USF and how they're the 5th best team
they gave the guy a spit
Florida
shine
now.
too. Did you see that one?
So go Noles. Thanks, Chris.
Absolutely. And then real quick, I want to get your guys' thoughts. Ryan, we're about to get to the story here on the other side of this. Ryan Day of Ohio State speaking out against the new transfer portal idea, getting rid of the spring transfer portal and making it a 10-day window instead. How do you guys feel about that?
Being a guy that was committed to staying in the same place, I love them trying to put some structure on it. I think the transfer portal has been a mess over the last few years. We have players that we had as Renegades that are now on their 4th school now, and I guess it's good for the individual players, but for the programs, it definitely causes some instability. And as a coach, I would definitely love that rule.
100%.
Yeah, and from an educator's standpoint, me being a teacher, it's also going to be good for these guys to be in the same university, same type of a program, because again, 96% of these guys are not going to make it to the NFL. No. And even if the 2 or 3% of them end up in the CFL or in any other kind of professional league, these guys are going to need some sort of professional experience. And most of these universities provide the opportunity to be able to have them get into sports management, get into kinesiology, get into sports business, something that's going to allow them to earn some money afterwards. And you see it right now with Cody Kessler, our local guy. He's tearing it up right now for the USC Sports Network down there. He does an amazing job pre-game, post-game, all that stuff. That was his calling after he was even a pro football player.
100%. I think you're right. I mean, we've talked about it on this show multiple times, and I do believe a lot of these athletes not only need to take some financial courses just to make sure they know how to allocate this money that they're getting through NIL, but also, like you just said, they got to find something for afterwards. I think a lot of athletes think, oh, I'm just going to become a pro and that's it. Well, your pro career ends at 30, maybe 40 years old. So what are you going to do?
Maybe 20, maybe 24.
Yeah, maybe
If
24.
you're lucky. If you're lucky, yeah.
If you what's going to happen the other 3/4 of your life? So I don't know.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys as always for your time. We'll talk to you next week. Good luck this weekend, and hopefully we can bring this back to 3-0 next week.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
Go Gades. We'll be right back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield.